This is Suzanne Wagner. Thank you for joining me. I am doing the numerology and the astrology for August 18th, 2020. If you add all those numbers together, you get the number 21. And if you add the 2 and the 1 together, you get the number 3. The number 3 is the number of the inner child. It's the number of positive mind. It's creative. It's spontaneous. It's positive. It's uplifting. And so I consider this the number of the inner child. And your inner adult right now is charged in sacred time and space to protect the children and your inner creative child. We are in a world where values have become skewed. It is important to return to what is not just essential, but critical for this world to survive and return to thriving. Joy is the pathway through all things that have value and have the strength to last the test of time. So do what you can to stay really positive. Do what you can to connect to your inner child and see, what that voice inside of you is longing for and yearning for. All right. The astrology today. The new moon is on Tuesday in the evening, so meditate on a powerful light coming from the eastern sky. We need a unified symbol for a bright new dawn coming forth through this new moon. While Leo is the sign of open hearts, everyone should use more creativity during this moment. We need to remember that child within and have fun. To focus as much as possible on the positive because Mars is making a very difficult aspect to Jupiter and then Pluto and Saturn in Capricorn. This further aggravates anger in the streets and will magnify the fire season. And believe me, the next 90 days are going to be something that you will tell your children and grandchildren about. It is a time to get motivated right now to restructure the core foundations in your life. You have been feeling this because it has been going on for months. It is time to pick up the pace, but not to the extent that you're forcing issues at the moment. Refuse to bend. It is really important to get playtime now because September has Mars in a forceful retrograde crossing these same planets that you are painfully feeling right now. Everyone is reviewing their past choices and ambitions. Your priorities are going to change drastically through the end of this year. You are going to need to rest now so you can pace yourself later. Everything is going to take more time and effort. With so much fire energy happening at this time, please make sure your heart is engaged in a way that serves the greater good. Your ideas may not be received in the way you anticipated at this time. This can cause anxiety and uncertainty. Know that you cannot seem to clearly communicate what you are feeling because of long-standing mental blocks that have finally you are finally becoming aware of. Many things are slowing down movement on all levels, and it kind of kills your initiative. It is intended to collapse you into feeling the victim. Don't let it. There is a pull to the unusual and the things that guide you towards improvisation. Your inner child self is the key. Protect her or him and do not let anyone take that shine of goodness that is precious and delicate. Protect it at all costs. This is not a joke, nor a dress rehearsal. If you cannot or will not protect the children inside and outside, you will lose that essential reason and impulse that can save what is most important. There are many ups and downs ahead. When you hold the hand of your inner child solidly in yours and refuse to allow any conversations that damage that inner child, then you will slay the dragons that want to feed on the light of this world. My quote for today: when you see a child, smile. When you notice a child struggling, be kind. When a child is crying, reach out. What this world needs is a degree of safety. Safety is not that nothing bad happens. It is that when something bad happens, you know that you are not alone and that you have those that will love you and will stick by you while you heal. Okay, so my blog for today. When those that you know deep in your heart display such distortion and hatred, what do? I try to remind them of the person that they were. I reflect to them that they are being cruel and hateful, and that you know that they can be better than this. What is so hard is that you know they have been infected by others. You might have watched the steps slowly happen over and over again, one wound leading into another trauma, slowly chipping away at the protection of that soul's light. So often I can tell you exactly the person that has done it to them. That is because they often married it. Women tend to allow themselves to be influenced by toxic men in their life to keep family safe and to keep the peace. They lose themselves in the distortion of those they believe love them. But what quality of love is a person capable of if they are spewing hate and continuously allowing such venom to slowly infect the goodness of others? Such people feed on the goodness of those that carry beautiful light, and those good people do not realize that they are slowly losing the essential shine and essence that made them so special. When they refuse to see what they have become, they lose themselves as well. They have turned into a vehicle for the darkness, and that unconscious darkness links to their soul. In that process, they become unconscious to the suffering they are creating. They become repetitive automatons of the evil that has taken them over. Such a fate I would not intend on my worst enemy, yet they have chosen it for themselves. To witness such a thing causes a type of pain that is worse than losing them to a natural process such as death, because death is such a transition to another natural state of energy. Being turned towards the darkness is more like a soul changing its energy into that which is unnatural for their essence. The process to reclaim that energy is a karmic process filled with horrific pain and consequences. So I write this blog today because I really get that so many of us out there are dealing with the conflicts that there are people that we know and love that are supporting the choices and decisions of extremely dangerous and terrible people, and supporting the choices that are causing harm to this world and this planet and others. And we love those people. We love those people. We care about them. And but over and over again, what you see in their choice is a level of inner distortion and hate that is just shocking to you. You know, it's shocking to see that the person that you love and have known for maybe 40, 50, 60 years is actually has a side of them that you maybe never wanted to notice before, or you maybe suspected and felt it was there, but you never really saw it actually come out completely. I know that, you know, when people are dying, like when my grandfather was dying, he lived in a generation where there was a lot of racism, and, you know, they used the N-word prolifically. And while I never heard my grandfather ever do that until he was in hospice, when it came out of him, I was horrified. I was horrified. I was like, Grandpa, do not say that. That's a horrible thing to say. And he literally collapsed like a little child, like, you know, like, oh my gosh, you know. And you realize that so many of these people have never been told that what they were doing was not okay, because it was sort of normalized. It was normalized. And what's happening right now is a level of this normalization that I personally am not going to tolerate. I mean, I'm just not going to tolerate it. So what do? You know, to me, you reflect back to people that they are being hateful, and you reflect back to them that you know who's really inside of there, and hopefully that shine that is inside someone will start to contemplate and reflect on what they have lost inside of themselves. Like, I just can't imagine that defending hate with more hate feels good. I can't fathom that, but I know some people feel that way. So, it's a tricky, difficult moment, because this moment in history has shown the flaws and the wounds of the people that we love, that have been hidden away, that you probably suspected at different points in time. And, be aware that I'm very clear that the hate that's coming out of them is from their own wounding. So how hate attaches to people is through their own denial of their own wounding, or their own denial of their own lack of self-worth. And, it's so fascinating to see people that you've known, since like, junior high. And, this person is a good person, but you did honestly watch them go through situations and make choices that you recognized were off. And you probably didn't say anything at the time. I didn't say anything at the time. And I just thought, I trust the light that's within that person to work their way out. And so what you do is you step back. I mean, that's what I do. It's like when somebody's heavy darkness starts lashing out at me, it's like I just step back. I'm like, love ya, gotta step back, not playing this game. I am not playing a game where I'm being manipulated or coerced, or, I'm not playing that. And so how we step away, and then how in this age of social media that, we've reconnected to some of these people, and you're so excited, to connect with them again and to have those connections. And then you hear the voice that they have become. You hear how this life's trauma and wounding has jaded them and made them hateful and made them lash out at people, and how people speak from a place that they think they're so educated when they're not. That's what's so interesting to me. So like people who have never lived in a foreign country, I've lived in a foreign country, and then they think they know, how Europeans are. They think they know how the taxes go, and they think they know how socialized medicine goes, but they don't know. They don't know because they haven't experienced it. And, yes, that those countries have higher taxes, but if you have higher taxes and you get free medical insurance, and you get, you get all these other kind of positive things, and you get a culture that is peaceful, and you get, nobody is unemployed. So, when I lived in Germany, it's like there was no unemployment. I mean, after the wall came down and they suddenly had all the East Germans coming in, then suddenly they had unemployment, but then they still have held this same model, which is that if you're unemployed, we're going to pay you. We're going to pay you, and we're going to pay you to retrain you. We will pay you to go back to school. We will pay you to get going again. And that's how a lot of systems work in Europe. And yeah, so you pay a little bit more in taxes, but I think of all the dancers that I know that when you quit dancing, you were up shit creek. I mean, like you had to take yourself back to school and everything. And in Europe, they would retrain you. You want to work in the theater, you want to be trained to do hair and makeup, you want to be trained to do, like, they would literally retrain you. And, to me, that gives a safety net. And so I'm so sick and tired of people who have never lived in a foreign country, and never experienced their systems, thinking that they have the power and the authority to even talk about it. I mean, it's like, they're like, oh, well, they pay 40% tax. I'm like, well, what do you think you're paying right now? I mean, it's like, that's just so hysterical to me. It's like, do you realize how much taxes you're paying, like, on 40 other things between gasoline and food and, your land and your house? And, do you realize how much tax you're actually paying? You actually don't even realize how much tax you're paying. So, it's this shallow limited knowledge. And what's so shocking is that you can get people who are incredibly intelligent, but I find that they let go of their intelligence is the best way to say it. They let go of their intelligence in favor of rhetoric and in favor of shortcuts, of doing the hard work. And, it's not like I think everybody should, not have an opinion and not say what they want to say. But it's that, again, if you're going to say something, you better know what you're talking about before you start saying it. I think it just comes from my own father. Like, my own father used to say, he used to like correct me 5 times over. And so I learned not to communicate anything if I wasn't 100% certain that I could back it up in some way. And I understand these people really think that they can back it up, but they're backing it up with conspiracy theory things. And these things are actually destroying our world at this point. And I recognize that the emotional development maturity of most people, and I'm talking globally, is not up to snuff with the technologies that are coming in. So what's happening is that we haven't matured to the place that we can handle these technologies coming in, because we have no filter, we have no sorting mechanism. And I don't know how we learn that except through experiences that are painful, like we are in at the moment, to kind of, to have to create laws that say that conspiracy theory things are, labeled as conspiracy theory things, and they're called out for what they are. And that's where it's really tricky, because, don't get me wrong. Do I think governments tell the truth all the time? No. For a lot of reasons. Do we really know everything is going on? No. But there's a difference between that and making up very, very dangerous things that put people in jeopardy. And I think governments need to become more accountable. I do. I think that we need more transparency. Things need to be, left out there more. And I know it's going to be incredibly messy. And I know that it's going to cause a lot of problems. But somehow we've got to grow up. We've got to mature our mind to the information that is coming in so that we can actually sort it. Because, what happens is you just see people that are protecting things that are energetically feeding off of them, and they don't even realize it. That's what's so amazing to me. It's like, can't you feel the energy drain? Can't you feel how that hate inside of you is causing suffering in you? Like, do you actually think that feeling is pleasant? Do you actually think defending the indefensible actually is pleasant in your body? Do you think your body can hold that much toxicity without creating disease and illness and dysfunction down the road? I don't. I mean, mine can't. I mean, I can't live in a body that is in that level of denial without drastic consequences to my physical health and well-being. So that is my rant for today. And I hope that, people start to, to me, it's a super simple thing. Why, when you say something, after you say it, how did that feel? Like, did that feel good? Did that feel freeing? Did that feel inclusive? Did that feel positive? Did that feel inspiring? Did that feel uplifting? It's so easy to hate. It's like the easiest thing in the world to blame and hate. It's easy. It is hard to find something positive, especially right now in this world. And only the strongest of the strong, can actually navigate it consistently well. And, this is a spiritual test of our identity for sure on 20 different levels. It's a spiritual test. So I hope you all take care, and I will talk to you later. Bye.